When's the last time you had a conversation with Newsom?
We had a very brief conversation. I remember it actually. At the second presidential debate in 2024. It was held at the Reagan Library, and the Biden people sent him in as a surrogate.
I was there. And he was talking to everybody.
Exactly.
He was talking.
That's all right. Well, he was literally going on just off to the side. We were both with Hannity that night. And so we had a quick conversation then.
Did you whisper to him that you may run? Did anybody know?
We didn't. I think we actually ended up, I was still then working on the housing policy that we spoke about earlier. And if I'm right, I think we had a brief conversation about that. And then he connected me to one of his team members to maybe follow up on that and so on.
How dismal you think his track record's been since he's been governor?
Well, you just have to look at the facts. I mean, we are the worst performing state on every measure that matters. Like truly,
under him.
Yeah, I mean, you look at how else can you describe it? I mean, poverty, unemployment, cost of living, and then more qualitative measures. So, U.S. News and World Report ranks California 50th out of 50 states for opportunity. Think about that opportunity. I mean, that's supposed to be the definition.
Last place for
last place. Wallet Hub, 50th out of 50 for affordability. Chief Executive Magazine, they do an annual survey. California, 50th out of 50. I think it's now 10 or 11 years in a row. It's just insane. Roads, I mentioned, 50th. It's not just that we're doing badly. We're the worst performer of all 50 states on almost everything that matters at the same time as they've doubled the budget. It's insane how badly. Now, it's covered up because, of course, we're still an amazing state. I love California. We've got the most incredible advantages. Natural beauty, amazing people, diversity. It's great. It's a wonderful place to be. But it's a very tough place to be if you're a regular working class Californian, if you're running a small business. That's why so much of what I'm talking about is very practical stuff to help the first $100,000 tax-free. It just seems like a small thing, but it's a big deal to small business owners. Remember, I used to, I started a couple of restaurants in London. Restaurant owners particularly hate some of this stuff. $800 a year they charge you just for existing. Every business in California has to pay a registration fee of $800 a year. Now, that may not sound like a lot if you're, of course, and it isn't a lot if you're Anthropic or Google or whatever, but if you're a small business and you're not making any money, you're just getting going, it's actually really tough. It's simple things like that we just need to do to make life less of a struggle for everybody.
Now, what happened recently? This is like a few days ago with Javier Becerra's strategic Dana Williamson, who used to be the previous chief of staff, I believe, for Newsom, just got 3 felonies. This is just a few days ago.
Yeah.
What happened?
This is a really
big scandal.
It is a big scandal. I mean, it's little. Here's what happened. Becerra he was the California Attorney General. He was appointed by Biden to be Health Secretary, HHS, at the beginning of the Biden term. Becerra wanted to take his chief of staff, a guy called Sean McCluskey, with him to D.C. It was going to be the salary wasn't high enough, and this guy wanted to come back and forth to his family, and so they wanted more money for this guy to be able to go with Becerra. The salary was the salary, whatever the federal salary is. So they cook up this scheme to take $10,000 a month from Becerra's California campaign account, transfer it to a consulting firm run by this person, Dana Williamson, and then that money, that $10,000, goes straight out the door to the guy's wife, to Sean McCluskey's wife. So it's like a backhanded way of topping up his pay. That's against California campaign finance law because you can't use campaign money for anything other than campaign expenses. And it's against federal law because you can't get income from another source. Now, the argument from Becerra is he didn't know about any of this.
Can we see what she looks like? Can you go a little bit lower? Now, do you think he knew about this? What are the chances he knew about this?
I can't believe that he didn't know. I mean, look, his argument is I'm not in the indictment. I'm not in the federal indictment. And the federal indictment says he didn't know. Katie Porter, who's been very aggressive on this, and some of the other Democrat candidates, is saying it's ridiculous. And just because you haven't been indicted yet doesn't mean you won't be. And just on a human level, feels to me impossible to believe that he didn't know. The whole point of the scheme was to enable him to take his chief of staff with him to Washington. That's the whole reason for doing it.
So he knew.
Who knows? I mean, he's saying he didn't.
Is that it, Rob? That clip right there between the two of them?
Yes, that's the one.
I wouldn't mind seeing it, but I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of ads that's going to come on first. Within 3, 2, 1, there's an ad. Yeah. So if something like this is tied to him, how big of a scandal would this be for him?
Well, this is what a lot of the Democrat rivals have been saying. You're going to nominate this guy who then could be indicted in the middle of his campaign for governor.
Can you go to the part where Katie Porter's calling him out? Fast forward a little bit to where Katie Porter.
So my line is more of a political. I say, look, you shouldn't be in this race. You should be preparing your criminal defense.
Is this it? Go for it. Press play.
Respectfully, Mr. Becerra, your quote at the end drifted off a little bit from the words. What the quote was that you had not been mentioned in the charging documents, that is, in the indictment of Dana Williamson, your long-term chief of staff, Sean McCluskey, or Greg Campbell. But as you know, that does not preclude, because you are also a trained attorney, you know that does not preclude an indictment from being issued against you. We do not know what Dana Williamson said about your involvement, and the government will have the ability to reveal that later.
Ryan, the same way I did it when I was Attorney General, we established a bureau that dealt with Medi-Cal fraud, working with the federal government. Unfortunately, Trump is a problem because Trump took $1 trillion out of the healthcare system, out of the Medicare, or the Medicaid and the Medi-Cal system. Trump is now trying to deprive California of another $1 billion in health care for Medi-Cal. He doesn't have the right to do that.
He just went to a different place.
Yeah. So that's their argument. And it's not just Katie, it's also Antonio Villaraigosa, the former mayor of LA, making that argument very strongly. Like, this guy could be indicted. It's a massive risk to have him as your candidate. That's their argument.
Yeah, it was overnight when he all of a sudden spiked up.
Yeah, when Swalwell dropped out.
Yeah, when Swalwell
Everyone was surprised. No one expected it.
Yeah, so the worry today Democrats have in California is, holy shit.
Yes.
If something happens here, is it Katie? Because they're worried about Katie. She's a wild card.
Well, she seems to be
Is it going to be Steyer?
It looks like Steyer is the... I mean, look at the data. I mean, it's me and Becerra. On most of the polls, me and Becerra at the top. Then there's a gap. Then it's Tom Steyer. Then there's another gap. It's everyone else. There was one poll last week, which I take very seriously. It's that one. There's the second one there, Emerson College, which had basically a three-way tie at the top. Myself, Becerra, and Steyer, all roughly the same. And so, yeah, you see it there, 2019-18. So, who knows? Most of the polls are not that. Most of them show this gap between myself and Becerra and Steyer. But Steyer is definitely number 2, and Katie Porter's well below. So I don't know. I mean, look, things have changed very quickly. It feels like we're less than 2 weeks to the election. Voting's already started. It feels very unlikely to me that Katie Porter's going to pop back up.
It would be catastrophic for Democrats if she does. It would be phenomenal for you if she pops up. You would love a Katie Porter opposition. It would be great for TV because, to me, she's gifted. She's a natural villain to the core. She's so phenomenal. I mean, she will get a job the day she doesn't make it to The View, and she'll bring the type of views to The View they haven't seen for a long time. I think she is that talented. When we set out to create a shoe that blends comfort, function, and luxury, we had the choice to make it fast. We had the choice to make it cheap. We chose neither. Instead, we chose Tuscany, Italy. We chose true Italian craftsmanship, each pair touched by 50 skilled hands. We chose patience, spending 2 years perfecting every detail, and we chose the finest quality at every step. Introducing the Future Looks Bright collection. Not rushed, not disposable, not ordinary. Rather, intentional, luxurious, timeless. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here. Here's a clip from Newsom, okay? And he says some things that a lot of people have been taken in a weird way. I want to see how you interpret this. He says he has a secret plan to break the glass. Rob, if you want to play this clip for the audience to see. And I don't know if he's talking about you. I don't know if he's talking about, whatever, because, look, a candidate running Republican, that smile that he has, he looks like he's up to something. Go ahead, Rob.
But you've spoken about accountability. Do you think Democrats will hold you accountable for standing by this principled neutrality by withholding your endorsement in this non-possible scenario where two Republicans take the ticket?
Yeah, look, my focus has been making sure that doesn't happen, and I've exercised not just a focus, but I've exercised through some action efforts to encourage that doesn't happen by making my case, and will continue to make my case. I do not see that scenario taking place. I've said this before, so I'll repeat it. I don't anticipate this need to be the case, but there is a break the glass scenario, and there's many people that have a deep understanding of what it would look like if Democrats were locked out, and we're going to do everything to make sure that doesn't happen.
What do you think he means by that? What do you think he means by that?
I think what he means is that, because remember, it's all about him. It's only about him. Mm-hmm. It's only about his presidential ambitions. It's the only thing he cares about. I think what he wants is two Democrats in the top two. Because if I'm in the top two, he knows that the rest of this campaign, a big part of it will be a prosecution of his record. Because that's the whole argument.
Going into election. He doesn't want that.
So all this stuff that we're talking about will be even louder volume, because I will be there saying, we can't go on like this. This is insane. We are done with this. We cannot have another 4 years of this. Whereas if it's two Democrats, none of that, his record won't be an issue. It'll be, are we going to have single-payer health care? Are we going to tax, how much are we going to tax the rich, etc.? The other point is this. If I'm in the top two, if there's a Republican in the top two, then there's a chance, of course, that I'll win. I believe I can win. We haven't really talked about my path to victory, but I can see it, and it starts with the fact that you've now got a clear majority of Californians who think it's time for change, who think the state's on the wrong track. That's the starting point. And then if you look at the numbers of votes that you need, even President Trump in California, without campaigning there, in 2024 got more votes in California than I would need to win in a midterm year. And there's other things, the fact that we've got voter ID on the ballot in November in California. That's going to bring out a lot of Republican voters, and so on. So I can see a path to victory, and that's Newsom's worst nightmare. Imagine if this is the scenario in early 2027, just as he's launching his presidential campaign, you've got a Republican taking over as governor. He's just lost California to Republicans. That is it. And as I'm cleaning up the mess that he's left behind, I will be exposing what he's done as in the process of cleaning it up, which will be a disaster for his presidential campaign. So he wants to avoid that at all costs. What he wants is stare Becerra. So I think what's going on here is that he is raising the specter of two Republicans in order to continue to give Republicans hope that that can happen. In other words, encouraging Republicans to try and get to Republican voters to try and get two Republicans in the top two by continuing to vote for Chad Bianco. I think that's what's going on here.
So okay, got it. So the more Bianco goes up, you go down, then the top two will become Democrats.
Exactly.
That's their strategy.
Yes. Because he's desperate to see two Democrats.
What do you know about Steyer? Because he also came out of nowhere.
What I know
Billionaire Steyer,
the billionaire climate. Here's a couple of things. First of all, we talk about costs, and he keeps going on about affordability.
Yeah.
Most of the climate stuff that I'm talking about that's given us these insane gas prices, electric bills, and so on, housing costs, it goes back to a piece of legislation passed in 2006, AB 32, the Global Warming Solutions Act. A lot of this framework was set up then, the cap and trade system, all of this. In 2010, 4 years after it was passed, there was a ballot initiative to overturn it. And the main funder of that ballot initiative, the opposition to it, was Tom Steyer. So we could have avoided all this pain and cost, but it was Tom Steyer who defeated that initiative. So he's honestly, there's a way you could put it, which is he is personally responsible for this insane level of cost of everything in California. The other thing we know about him is how obsessed he is with trying to get elected to something. In this campaign for governor, the numbers are published all the time. Here's the latest. Here's how much he spent. $193 million.
In this?
Yes, since like when he entered the race. I don't know, November.
Stop. In this?
Yes, $193 million. That's his latest filing. Okay, 192.4.
Oh my God. Wow.
So far.
Oh
Not even,
my
we haven't even got to the
goodness.
primary.
And I mean, listen, fire your marketing team. $192 million. Spencer Pratt could have done it for you for $300,000.
Incredible.
Oh my God. $192 million. And where is he at on the polls? Is
He's
he
third.
2? You're 2, he's 3.
Look at that one. They're
Wow.
mostly like this one that you've just seen there.
Got it.
So he's
3. And Bianco's at 10 for this one.
yeah.
Man, Villagrosa, what a disappointment. 1%. Like literally nobody wants him. Nobody. At one point he was so famous, popular.
Yeah,
you know,
I
he
like
would
him,
walk
by the way.
around.
I like
What do you like about him?
I just like it. I get on with most people, but there's something I like Antonio. He's I think his heart's in the right place. He's definitely challenged the Democrat orthodoxy in a lot of issues. He challenged the teacher unions on education. He's actually the only one who's really called out the climate stuff. He's talked about
Good for him.
opening up oil production.
Why is he doing so bad?
I don't know. It's interesting because, you'd think he's run, he's two-time
Mayor
mayor.
of LA, yeah. It's a heavyweight.
I don't know. I truly don't know. I like him.
All right. Sounds good. I think there was some strategy endorsement there for Villagrosa. You're liking it. We'll see what happened there. But final thoughts here for Californians. What if they want to support, what can they do? How can they support you if they want to help?
So first, vote. You got to vote. I mean, none of this stuff will happen unless we vote for it. And I think one of the big things that we have to make this change in California is belief that it's possible. Because I think people have got conditioned to this idea that, well, a Republican can't win. And so you're stuck with this choice of putting up with the insanity or leaving the state. And that's a terrible choice. It's a ridiculous choice. And that idea that things can't change, I mean, I say this sometimes as a new American citizen. It's a very un-American attitude that you just can't, it can't be done. Of course it can be done. It's obvious that it needs to be done. It's obvious that we need change, that we need balance, but you've got to vote for it. And one of the reasons I've been I've been campaigning so hard and up and down the state for a year now, working really hard, is just to give that sense of energy and belief. And so number one is vote, 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 and tell all your friends, we got to do this and come out of this primary with energy. And we always need money. Look, we don't have Steyer money. We don't have any of that. We're very frugal. It's a lean startup kind of deal, but we're spending a little bit on advertising, and we got to get that message out because, if the truth is somewhere between those poles, that it's still too close for comfort, and you could end up with this 2 Democrat scenario, which is a disaster for California and for the country because we can't have our biggest state, our most beautiful, amazing state that's generated so much incredible innovation and leadership for America, from Hollywood to tech to our great farming industry, life sciences, biotech. There's just so much that comes out of California. And imagine how great it would be for our country if we have a California that is firing on all cylinders again.
Yeah, it's interesting. What most people don't know, since the last 100 years, I just pulled it up with the team. What percentage of the last 100 years in the state of California, the governor was a Republican versus a Democrat?
Actually, I don't know the answer.
61%.
Interesting.
Republican. Only 39% Democrat.
That's amazing.
And if you look at all time, Republican 20 to 17, I think it's time for California to go back to what it is to your original Republican governor days. We had an Armenian governor, Duke Medjian. I don't know if you knew that or not.
Yeah. Duke Medjian. Yeah,
he was a governor.
Well, Glendale, very big.
Massive,
Yeah.
massive Armenian. And by the way, there's some crazy Armenians that are leftists, join the trans LGBTQ camp, but there's a lot of Armenians to the core that raise their kids in a conservative way. And I hope
Exactly.
they get behind you.
Exactly.
And folks, if you want to support, I saw the number 30,000 plus donors already, right? Is it around 30?
Oh, no, 65,000.
65,000. Okay, the report here says 30. 65,000 plus donors.
And probably more. I mean, that's one of the most beautiful things. I've never run for anything before. And we've gone from nothing to
65,000 from
over
nothing to
65. That was the last number that we put out.
Great.
Yeah.
Go visit the site, stevehiltonforgovernor.com. And if you enjoyed what was talked about today and you want to see more support, share this message with others, share the link with others, give financially, knock on doors, talk about it at dinners, talk to your friends,
Yes,
talk to
exactly.
your peers, get the message out there. Steve, excited to see what happens with you the next 2 weeks.
Thank you, man.
You're obviously doing the work, and I wish you nothing but the best.
Really wonderful to be with you. Thank you.
And I look forward to that event you do.
Yes,
for people
that's
from
great.
California.
Well, you'll
That
be
should
there,
be
right?
I look forward to you doing that event. I think it's a massive publicity stunt for everybody to say, are these people really talking about bringing their money back? I think that would be massive. And a lot of Californians would support it.
Thank you.
Great having you on, sir. When we set out to create a shoe that blends comfort, function, and luxury, we had the choice to make it fast. We had the choice to make it cheap. We chose neither. Instead, we chose Tuscany, Italy. We chose true Italian craftsmanship, each pair touched by 50 skilled hands. We chose patience, spending 2 years perfecting every detail, and we chose the finest quality at every step. Introducing the Future Looks Bright collection. Not rushed, not disposable, not ordinary. Rather, intentional, luxurious, timeless. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here. Where do you stand with the rail, the high-speed rail that he was supposed to build?
I was just there. God, I lost track of the days. 2 days ago, we just stood in front of literally a bridge to nowhere. Like they built. I drive up and down the Central Valley all the time. It's the 99 highway or the 5 freeway. It's mostly in the middle, the 99. And we haven't put it out yet, so you won't find this. But the infrastructure they've built is just all you can see up and down. Here are the numbers. So they said that it would be open by 2020, 2.5 hours San Francisco to LA, and total cost of $30 billion. Here's the latest. They laughably call it a business plan. This was just published like 2 weeks ago by the High Speed Rail Authority. Budget from $30 billion to $231 billion. The budget. The plan is now from San Francisco to Merced, which is at the top of the, you go inland, top of the Central Valley. That's on the existing trains, not high speed. Then you get on the high speed train at Merced and you go down to Bakersfield, high speed train. Then Bakersfield to LA, bus.
Stop.
Bus.
Who?
That's the high. That's
Can
the
you
business
verify
plan.
this? There's no way that's what they're
That's
saying.
the plan.
For the $231 billion?
Yes.
So
By
they went from the 2.5 hours to me having to have multiple stops before I go to San Francisco?
And like I point out, the 2.5 hours, sometimes you'll do that just from if you're driving, Bakersfield to LA can take that long.
There's no way that's what they're saying.
That is.
Rob, zoom in. Let me see. The revised draft plan outlines a commitment of full nonstop high-speed connection between LA and Bay Area by 2039. Construction span 119 miles or something. No, go a little bit lower because I'm trying to see, is there a stop? Future long-term extensions connect North Sacramento, East Sacramento. There is no way they're telling you to
There's a
go,
bus.
come back with a bus, and then
There's
go
a
to.
bus. That's the thing. If you look up bus, there's a whole.
Caltrans consider 140 mile an hour bus.
different.
That's a different story, Rob.
There's a difference. Story.
If that is true, that is pathetic.
It is true.
That is absolutely pathetic if that's what they're saying.
It was older. This is the business plan. This was a couple of weeks ago.
Wow.
So it's insane.
What would you do?
And
What
also
would you
another
do?
thing, the bullshit. Sorry, I mean the things he says. So he did a press conference. I don't know when it was. A couple of months ago, he's trying to sort of, because obviously the only thing he cares about, Newsom, is running for president. That's very obvious. And so he's trying to clean it all up. So they did a event there where he stood in front of trains, just some engines to make it look as if he was doing something with actual trains. And he was trying to announce that they were doing laying of tracks. Because one of the points that we make is that this is, like more than a decade into it, 2 decades nearly. And there's no track been laid. They've built a bunch of stuff, but no tracks. And he was trying to announce that he was doing tracks. But even then, he actually, if you look at his words, he didn't say we're laying tracks. He said we are entering the track laying phase. There's gaslighting over this is just, there we are, look, a critical step in the track laying stage. They're not actually laying any track. This is how they do. And it's just, and by the way, they're still pretending this is realistic and going to happen. And we are still paying for it. So earlier I mentioned the cap and trade thing, cap and trade scheme, which is one big component of the high gas prices. On top of the gas tax, there's this thing called cap and invest, which is the carbon trading, ridiculous bureaucratic scheme. It's basically a tax on energy production and use. 1/4 of that goes to high-speed rail. So we're still paying for it. I mean, the federal bid has been ended.
Good idea, bad idea?
The high-speed rail.
Yeah.
High-speed rail is, in other places, works well. In Europe, it works really well. I've used it a lot. It doesn't work. It doesn't make sense in California because of the way that we've developed in California. Because you could take a train from, let's say it all worked fine. You have San Francisco to LA. Well, when you get to LA, what do? Let's say it's Union Station, which is, over downtown LA. It's like another 45 minutes to get to
Anyway.
the west side or whatever. So
Yeah.
what do you do then? We're just not how California. This is what it's a really good example of what's gone wrong in California, which is they've been trying to impose ideological blueprints on practical life as it's lived. They have this ideology, which is they want everyone in trains, public transportation, cycling, walking. Let's be more like Europe. That's what, because of climate. That's why I say the climate stuff is a real driver. Let's be more like Europe. Let's have density. That's not how California was built. And whether you like it or not, the way that California was developed was outwards. And that's a part of the beauty of California life. A single family home, you have a yard, the kids can play outside, enjoy the weather. That's just how we grew. And so this doesn't work. This model of public transit doesn't work in California. You'd have to sort of completely redo. No, in certain cities, San Francisco, very dense. You get it works there.
Yeah.
But even then, how do people get around in San Francisco? I mean, yeah, there's the Mooney and the BART, whatever, but people, now you've got Waymo. And you've got so many, it just doesn't make sense in terms of how people are going to, even on their original estimate, I looked into it for my book, when they actually sold high-speed rail, they did sell it as a getting cars off the road idea. But who's doing this drive? I mean, people fly.
That's crazy to even think about. I mean, I know Palmdale, I know Bakersfield, I know Fresno, I know all these streets, all these cities. I've driven all over these places because I was selling insurance for 20 years.
Right.
And, so.
Also, here's another thing, just really annoying. So you look at that map there, the bit that goes down to Anaheim, which is a fantasy. This is just insane. They can't even build okay, if you look at that map, the easiest bit from Merced to Bakersfield through the central, totally flat. Nothing, that's taken forever. And nothing's happened.
Let alone in the city.
Right. Or through, that's why they're doing the bus, because from Bakersfield to the other side, you've got big mountains there. That's hard engineering-wise, which they haven't figured out. And then the Anaheim bit, which is just a fantasy, the other week they published an environmental impact report. Here's a really good example of the bloat and nonsense in California. They published an environmental impact report for this leg of the thing from LA to Anaheim that no one thinks is going to happen. The summary of the environmental impact report, just for that, was 100 pages. Someone's paying for that, like some we're paying for it. That's what I mean. There's no check or control on this bloat in the government. They keep, because they don't have people who think like that. They don't have business-minded people who look at all this and say, what are you doing? Why are we commissioning an environmental impact report for something that everyone knows is never going to happen?
When we set out to create a shoe that blends comfort, function, and luxury, we had the choice to make it fast. We had the choice to make it cheap. We chose neither. Instead, we chose Tuscany, Italy. We chose true Italian craftsmanship, each pair touched by 50 skilled hands. We chose patience, spending 2 years perfecting every detail, and we chose the finest quality at every step. Introducing the Future Looks Bright collection. Not rushed, not disposable, not ordinary. Rather, intentional, luxurious, timeless. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.